Okay, so this might be the weirdest business lesson I've ever shared on a podcast, but stay with me because it's about to make perfect sense. What if I told you that my year on Tinder, yes, the dating app that everyone loves to hate, taught me more about myself and building sustainable wealth than most business courses ever could? I know it's wild, but what I learned during those 12 months changed so much. And I'm about to show you how it applies to your business. The exact same principles that create businesses where revenue just doesn't spike once and where you just don't hit a new income level and then fall straight back down. So let's dive in. Let's talk dating apps, intuition, car accidents, and why your business plateau has nothing to do with your strategy and everything to do with your standards, your nervous system, and your willingness to keep going when nothing makes sense. So Tinder, everyone has an opinion about it. It's a cesspool. No one serious is on there. Good luck finding anything real. And you know what? I had a completely different experience, and so have many of my friends. And no, I wasn't lucky. It's just that I decided something before I even downloaded the app. I decided I'm going to meet my person and I'm going to have fun in the process. There was no maybe, not I hope so, not if the universe aligns and Mercury isn't in retrograde. I just knew. And I held that conviction like a fact. It was just a non-negotiable. And here's where this connects to your business. Most owners are running their business like they're swiping on Tinder with zero belief that they'll ever meet their person. They're posting content, launching offers, showing up, but underneath it all, they don't actually believe the clients are coming. They don't believe the money is inevitable. They're hoping and they're wishing. I'm doing everything I'm supposed to. Why isn't it working? But underneath that, there's still a part of you that doesn't think it will. And that energy, your audience feels it. Your clients feel it. The universe feels it. I wasn't on Tinder hoping to meet someone. I was on Tinder knowing I would and having a blast with the journey in the meantime. That's the first shift. You don't get to build sustainable wealth from a place of, I hope this works. Maybe this will work. You build it from, this is inevitable and I'm going to enjoy the process getting there. Now, this is where it all gets interesting. I had a list, a literal list of non-negotiables, and I did not budge on them because I knew exactly what I wanted and I wasn't willing to waste my time or energy on anything less. And let me tell you, Tinder taught me how to have high standards real fast because when you're clear on what you want, the misaligned stuff becomes glaringly obvious. You stop entertaining conversations that feel off. You stop second guessing your gut. You stop lowering your bar just because someone showed up. And this is where most business owners are bleeding the energy. You override your intuition because you get in your head. You overthink and second guess. So you do what someone else thinks you should do, not what you want to do. You take on actions and strategies that drain your energy. And then you wonder why you're doing more but getting the same result. But here's what actually happens when you do that. Your nervous system registers every misaligned yes as proof that you're not safe, that you can't trust yourself, that success requires you to compromise who you are. And then you hit an income ceiling because your body literally won't let you scale past the point where you have to keep saying yes to things that drain you. Standards aren't about being difficult. They're about training your nervous system to feel safe with success. When I held my standards on Tinder, I didn't waste time on people who weren't it. I didn't second guess myself into bad dates. I trusted my list. I trusted my knowing. And in your business, when you hold standards, your pricing, your boundaries, your non-negotiables, you stop attracting the clients and the opportunities that keep you stuck at the same income level. You start attracting the ones that match where you're going, not where you've been. And so this is where the real lesson lands. Even with my list, even with my standards, a few people got through the cracks. And every single time that happened, my first instinct wasn't to blame Tinder or blame man or the universe for sending me duds. My first question was never just also one question. It was always a series. Where am I doing this in my own life? So if someone showed up emotionally unavailable, I asked, where am I emotionally unavailable to myself? Am I shutting down? Where am I protecting my heart instead of opening it? Where am I choosing safety over connection? If someone showed up flaky, I just didn't ask, where am I being flaky? There were multiple layers to explore. I asked, where am I overcommitting? Where am I saying yes when my body is saying no? Where am I ghosting on commitments because I'm scared of being seen? Where am I breaking promises to myself before I break them with others? If someone was unclear about what they wanted, I didn't stop at where am I unclear about what I want, because there were deeper questions beneath that. Where am I avoiding decisions? Where am I waiting for permission? And the list goes on. There was always more to unpack. And every pattern I noticed in others became a series of reflections I had to face in myself. And this is the part most people skip. And it's the part that keeps you stuck. When an offer doesn't work, you blame the algorithm. When a client ghosts, you blame them for not being committed. When revenue drops, you blame the economy, the season, Mercury retrograde. But if something misaligned is showing up in your business, it's a mirror. It's showing you where you're out of alignment. I'm not saying this to be harsh. I'm saying it because this is the part that needs to change. And every single time I adjusted internally, the external shifted. And it's the same in business. If you keep attracting clients who don't pay, where are you not valuing your own time? If you keep hitting the same income ceiling, where are you not allowing yourself to receive more? If you keep burning out, where are you overriding your body's signals? Stop blaming the external circumstances and start looking inward, because that's where the real power is. All right, story time. One night I went on a dinner date, nice guy, good conversation, but a few things he said felt off. I couldn't put my finger on it, nothing overtly wrong, just a subtle, something's not right here feeling in my body. So I asked a few extra questions, paid closer attention, and by the time he walked me to my car, one statement he made landed in my gut. I said goodbye, got in my car, and drove off. When I got home, I started doing some detective work. Didn't find much, and then just went to bed. I woke up at 5 a.m. A single thought, Google this. So I did, and I found him. I had to pay to get behind the paywall, whatever it takes, right? And he'd been charged with sexual assault. So I reported, blocked, and moved on. And here's the lesson. I trusted my intuition even when I had zero logical proof. I didn't talk myself out of it. I didn't rationalize it anyway. I didn't think maybe I'm being paranoid. I didn't override my body's signal just because my mind couldn't explain it yet. And in business, this is everything. How many times have you had a gut feeling about a client, partnership, a strategy, and you ignored it because it didn't make logical sense? How many times have you overridden your intuition because you were scared of being wrong or scared of missing out? Your body knows before your brain does. Your nervous system picks up misalignment faster than your logic ever will. And when you learn to trust that, when you learn to act on the subtle something's off feeling without needing proof first, you stop wasting months of your life on things that were never meant for you. You stop saying yes to clients who drain you. You stop running offers that weren't right. You stop forcing strategies that don't fit your energy. Intuition isn't woo, it's data. And the faster you learn to trust it, the faster you build a business that feels easy because you're only moving in directions that are actually aligned. So Christmas rolls around. I'm house sitting for 3 days in a different town. Christmas Eve, sitting on the couch, I'm bored, jump on the app, and I match with someone, start chatting. Christmas comes and goes. I go back home. We keep chatting on and off, nothing serious, just a few texts here and there. Then 3 weeks later, it's a Friday and I have a car accident, quite a bad one. Airbags deployed. I end up in hospital. My car is completely totaled and I'm covered in bruising that takes over a month to heal. And the guy that I'd been casually chatting with texts me out of nowhere asking me how my day was. And I tell him, well, not the greatest. I just wrote my car off. And from that moment, we didn't stop talking. A week later, we met in person and there was an instant knowing. The kind you can't manufacture, the kind you can't force, that you just know. And 4 years later, we're still together, still amazing. But here's what I want you to hear. I didn't force the timing. I didn't panic when it felt slow. I didn't give up when nothing was happening. I learnt my lessons. I kept going. I kept my standards. I kept trusting. I course corrected. And then in a single moment, a moment I couldn't have predicted or controlled, everything changed in that one moment. And this is exactly how wealth works. You don't force the timing. You don't panic when revenue dips. You don't abandon your standards because it's taking longer than you thought. You keep going and you keep showing up. You keep holding the knowing that it's inevitable. And then boom, you'll have a client sign. An offer takes off. An opportunity lands in your inbox. And in a moment, your life changes. But only if you didn't quit 3 weeks before it happened. This is what your nervous system needs to learn, that success doesn't require you to force, control, or manipulate timing. It requires you to hold your standards, trust your intuition, keep moving forward, even when you can't see the finish line yet. Because the moment everything shifts, it's not random. It's the result of every aligned choice you made before it, every boundary you held, every misaligned opportunity you said no to, every time you looked inward instead of blaming outward. That's what creates the conditions for wealth that stays, not the hustle or the force, it's the trust. So let's bring this full circle. What Tinder taught me about business. Belief is everything. You don't get to build sustainable wealth from maybe. You build it from this is inevitable. It's a conviction in your energy. Number 2, standards are non-negotiable. When you hold standards, your nervous system feels safe with success. When you lower them, you train your body that success requires compromise. Number 3, when something misaligned shows up, look inward. What is this teaching me? What's the lesson? What part do I need to heal? Stop blaming the external circumstance because the fastest way to shift your business is to shift yourself. Number 4, trust your intuition even without the proof. Your body knows before the brain does. Learn to act on the subtle signals and stop wasting time on things that were never meant for you. Number 5, you can't force timing. You can only trust it. Keep going, keep your standards, keep the knowing. And then in a moment that you can't predict, everything shifts. These principles just don't apply to dating. They apply to business, to wealth, to life. The context changes, but the principles stay the same. And here's the thing most people miss. Your nervous system doesn't care whether you're on a date or in a sales call. It's tracking the same thing. Am I safe here? Can I trust this? Is this aligned? And when you learn to hold the standards in one area of your life, your nervous system learns to hold them everywhere. When you learn to trust your intuition in dating, you learn to trust it in business. When you learn to stop forcing outcomes in relationships, you learn to stop forcing outcomes in your revenue. It all connects. And the women who actually build wealth that stays, they're not pushing harder or learning more strategies. They're doing it by training their nervous system to feel safe with success. Trust the process. They hold their standards even when it feels slow. They're doing it by looking inward instead of blaming outward. They're doing it by trusting timing instead of forcing it. So here's my question for you. Where are you lowering your standards because you're scared it's taking too long? Where are you blaming external circumstances instead of looking within? Where are you overriding your intuition because it doesn't make logical sense? And most importantly, are you holding the knowing that success is inevitable, or are you just hoping it might happen? Because the difference between those two, that's the difference between hitting a new income level once and falling back and building wealth that actually stays. Your business isn't broken. Your strategy's not wrong. Your nervous system just hasn't learned to feel safe with the version of success you're trying to create yet. And the fastest way to teach it, apply these principles, not just in business, but in life. Hold your standards, trust the intuition, look inward when things feel off, stop blaming the external, keep going even when you can't see the result yet. Because in a moment you can't predict or control, everything can change. And you'll look back and realize it was always inevitable. You just had to trust it long enough for it to land. So if this landed for you, send me a message. Let me know what came up for you. I love hearing your feedback. If you're stuck at the same income, no matter what you do, this is exactly what I help you with. We shift the patterns that's keeping you there so your next level actually holds. Links are in the show notes. Thank you so much. I'll see you next week.